to another edition of Let's Talk Money with Wendy Silevi. This is actually episode 19, and today we are talking to couples, and we're just going to explore how couples can work together in wealth creation, specifically around budgeting, around saving and investing together. A viewer of the podcast requested me to actually tackle this topic, and that's why we are here. And this shows that, we take seriously everything, the feedback that you give us, and we will do our best to always accommodate your suggestions on the topics that you want us to address, because this podcast is not about me, but it's about me and you. It's about me making sure that we address those topics that make sense to you and that will help you with your money journey. So before we get into the business of the day, I'd like to thank those who have been liking the page, who've been subscribing. I can see our subscription numbers are going up, and I just want to thank you, and also to encourage those who have not subscribed to click on the little bell that's there and subscribe. My guests for today are a very powerful couple, the Mazwis, Ncedisi, Nico, and Makwena Mazwi. Welcome to you, Mazwi. You're right. You are a powerful couple in my eyes. Are you good?
Yeah.
Okay. So before we get into maybe the questions around the topic, I'd like you to introduce yourselves. We'll start with you, Nicole. And in this podcast, you share as much or as little as what you'd like. But just need to know who you are, where you were born, what did you do before, in terms of your career, because I'm quite aware that both of you are retirees like me. We'll start with you, boss.
Thank you. My name is Nico Mazwi, but born as Ncedisi Mazwi. Nico is my nickname. I worked in the logistics space for the rest or most of my career, having started in Anglo-American but finished at Randwater. Studied extensively, but I will not elaborate on that. I'm married to Makwena. We've got 3 kids and 3 great, energetic grandchildren. And I'm staying in Roodepoort currently, having stayed in Protea, Meadale, and now as I'm saying, I'm in Roodepoort, and that's who I am. Yes.
So Makwena here now.
Makwena is, my wife. Next to
Okay,
me.
all right.
Yeah.
All right, Kwena, introduce yourself.
Thanks for the invitation, Wendy. Makwena Mubedi, married to Mazwi, next to me here.
Yeah.
Born Kodube. I have 6 sisters. We were 7 at home, girls only. And I think my journey of employment was, it began just after marriage, I would say, in customer services, and I joined Youth Development Agency. That's where I was. Which really says I like working with young people. And customer services is basically working with people. So that's where I was for as long as I've been, from Sobonvu to Plena, forgetting the other organizations or companies that I worked for. And funny enough, I worked in procurement as well.
Really?
Early ages of my life. But then I moved to customer services, which I really liked. I left my job in 2021 which was a good time for me to be at home. Studied and continued to study after I got married. You know, I got married when I was at NYTA. At NYTA, I worked as a customer service person, but continued to develop myself up until I retired.
Yeah. Okay. And this is something that I admire about the two of you, that you really love working with young people. And as we speak, I mean, you lead the youth ministry at our church, and I must say that it takes, you know, special people to work with young people and even with children. You know, not all of us have got that gifting or that inclination to work the young people. And I mean, I've known the two of you for a very long time. I think when I got to know you, my sons are really the spring chicken, you know, really young. And look at us now, you know, all three of us, as we sit here, we are retired. And maybe my first question to you is, I mean, did you plan really to, you're going, especially when I'm going, because you retired before 60. Did the both of you plan, or no, we're going to retire before, or did it happen? How did that happen?
I don't think we both planned. You know, circumstances happened that way. But I was happy to take the route of, I don't want to go and work anymore, you know, 8 to 5. Because my contract, when it ended in 2001, and I thought, okay, there are other things that I'm looking into doing. Fine, I was still busy with my studies. It gave me an opportunity to complete my honors and continue to study further with other things. So when my contract expired, it coincided with what Nico chose to do. You know, I would say more or less the same time, although he chose to take the retirement early. With me, it was my contract expiring.
Okay, wow. All right, and I mean, I guess for you to be able to do that, you were able to do that because you were in some way or shape or form comfortable that if you took time out early, you would be able, you know, to sustain yourself beyond the time. Because what's working, most of us, and I'll count myself in there, and most people under general, they hold on, you know, because probably they didn't plan financially well, and so they have no other options. They must because, you know, financially things are not in a good space. But anyway, we'll unpack that later. But Nico, how long have you guys been married? And when in your marriage did you decide, or we are going to manage our finances together? Was it or Mozileng, or, you know, you can just share with us?
Yeah, we are 38 years married now. I think the issue of being open and transparent about money,
okay,
you know, because at that time I was able to open up. This is how much I'm earning. And it went on even when I got my increase letters, even if I got my bonus letters. Yeah, I will share with you. And then it also, when we got married, it was the same story.
Yeah.
You know, and in the process, because we had two accounts, one was NetBank, I was ABSA, but we ended up saying, no, you'll have authority signing power of attorney in my account, I'll have power of attorney in account. And then her idea of the money in here, it's not your money, it's not my money, but it's our money and for the household. And we started operating from there. And being an economist or a financial person in a space, and decided to go, no, she will handle the money. She'll do the payment. To point out, she doesn't like credit, and we'll work on saying, I want to close this account, then we'll work on cash. And so it has been as we go along.
Sure.
Know, yeah.
Wow, I think I like that, hey, Hore, from the time you were courting, you didn't wait for when you are married for you to be transparent about financial matters. Because I think that's one of the pitfalls that many couples face, in that, from the time baratana, even before they get into marriage, get the secret here, I don't know how much you earn, and yet I'm going to get married to you, and then we are probably going to get married in community of property, but I don't know the debts that you have, you don't know my debts. And as you would know, a lot in community of property before people got used to the idea, or you can have other marriage regimes that you can opt for. So basically, then you get married to this person, you are saying you love them, you are saying you know them, but 100% you don't know their financial status, and you are entering into a contract that says 50, whatever debts are yours are mine, whatever monies you have are mine. So I think I really like that approach, Yahore, from the time people are courting. They should really, truly, if they have intentions of getting married, they should start talking, about it. And you've touched a little bit about the fact that she's good with money, so you decided to either or manage the finances. Now, there's a school of thought that says, the man is the head of the home. So the man must manage the money, he must make all the decisions, whether we are better in terms of managing finances is not good, maybe it's the wife that's good. And in this case, you are alluding to the fact of do you believe that's a wise thing, to go for, to say, no, munna ke ena tlhoko?
Before he answers that, I think you forgot the important thing that when we got married, I was not working. I was still at school.
Okay.
Yeah. And for him to open up like that, because I only started working, I think, around about June, and all the financial window that he has spoken about, he decided to include me in that,
Wow.
So I think that for me was important, because our backgrounds were not the same. Where I came from, the way my parents operated, and the way his parents operated, we started our own platform and an understanding of how we would work together financially.
I like that, because our upbringing is not the same. Some are fortunate for their parents have had discussions around money issues, or others have not had that privilege. Where they come from, maybe they didn't even have money that they could manage, or they come from a background where money was just splashed around. So the power in what you are saying that both of you did is to then start your own and maybe look at what was good from Mazui's side, what was good from your side, and then start your own journey. Or how are we going to handle our finances? These days, only these money quizzes, where you can take a quiz and then it tells you your money personality. And then when it's told you your money personality, you are able to work out, okay, because my personality maybe is stingy, I'm that personality that hoards, that holds on to money. Maybe I'm going to make our lives miserable, or maybe I'm the one that's good in taking care of the finances, and then maybe the other personality, hey, motho dangerous ki gambler, or on payday, what's or I casino, I lo gambler. Did you guys have an idea of what your money personalities were to make a decision, or you just sat down and looked at, as you were courting anyway, you were engaging, you just looked at each other and thought, oh, good, Kachalet?
Yeah. Maybe if I take a step back, I learned, with my dad, I didn't know that he was not disclosing what is, and it's only when he passed away. Then my mom discovered some pay slips in a red box that he used to lock. And then he says, "Oh, your father earned so much." And I said, "Oh, you didn't know, Mawe." And he said, "No, she didn't know." And I think it's one of the motivating factors, Elimore. Now craft your own step, craft your own way of doing things, being open to your partner, not closing up. And that helped me to say, I even said, in his deathbed, I said, "Dad, I want to be different, to be a different man from what I have seen." Well, there are a lot of other things, but also when it comes to the money issue, and the money, his money was his money, my mom's money was her own money, and so I decided, that I should open up and then say, you will know who you're dealing with, what is in for us and what is in for our lifestyle and our household. It's so much.
Sure, I like that. And then maybe let's talk about how you manage your finances. I mean, I don't want the nitty-gritties per se, but just to say, when you do your monthly budgeting, your obligations, do you sit together to do the budget? How do you approach your strategies on how you manage your money? And maybe a follow-through question that maybe one of you can also take is, do you set financial goals? And if so, how do you do it? So it's the budget piece and the setting of financial goals.
You speak about the financial quiz. It's new to us. I've never heard of that, and also there are books like the one that Prudent wrote and Milner wrote that we only got to know some of that information quite late in our life. So I would say, when we first set to draft a budget, Mary usually checks them. We will say, okay, from this account, this is what we are paying. From this account, this is what we are paying. This month, this account has extra. Next month, this account will have extra. And the extra, after obviously giving each other the carrier the whole month, whatever is extra, we will save it. But then there are things as newlyweds that we would want to have. I remember my father would say, "I still say something right, why do you want to buy another chair?" So we could talk about, we need a table. We would go and check how much a table is, budget towards that. Because my goal was, we cannot reach a mechanical load, let's buy one thing at a time, paid off within 6 months. We save a lot if we buy within 6 months. So he would get his bonus in December, I would get mine June, and we would, plan our life that way. But in terms of saving, I remember there was the first time when we discussed that we need to save. This year, what is it that you want to do? And he said, "I want to have money." But then when you want to have money, means you must save. I think 3 months down the line, when I checked what have you done, there was no saving. And because I had liberty, to tap into his account, I had already started saving on his account. You know, I opened another account, but that was his account, you know, saving. And that year we went to Cape Town, you know. And then there are things that we wanted to buy in Cape Town. He says, no, we won't afford that. I said, we have money. And he said, we have money. I said, yes, we have money. And he gave him the card, showed him the money. I think even that developed trust that we can actually work together. You know, transparency doesn't mean I would have more for myself, but we had more for the house. So it helped us to budget there, you know, together. But the one important thing that I do not want to forget is that when you have kids, you have a bond, you have kids. So with other groups that we attended, it was people of the Southland, we could have financial gurus who would come and advise us on how do we balance the bond, cars, and kids. Because we realized that by that time we didn't have even the savings for Banam to go to university, education policy. We were already late to take one for Tando. So we had to do everything. It's either to squash the bond so that when they go to university, we are able and we don't go and get loan or whatever. So we did that, you know. I think we'll sit and discuss with it. Go to the bank and check how much, you know, because we were advised that if you pay your bond twice, then you are
reducing the interest and the term. So we didn't shy away from that. I think we both focused in, this is what we're going to do. If not this year, next year we must be done before these guys, they go to university. And I think, thank God, we managed to do that. You know, from the first house we had to Meredale, and we were able to finish and say we are bond free. You know, so I think that has helped us. Sure. If you are a couple, whether you are young or middle-aged, or you've just started marriage, or you are working towards it, I think there are so many financial nuggets that have been shared already that you can benefit from. I mean, just from chatting with you, teamwork, trust, you know, openness, transparency, are some of the characteristics that, you know, you need in order for you to work together as a team in making sure that you achieve your financial goals. I mean, this you know, our episode before this one, I think episode 16, we were talking about vision, we were talking about goal setting, we were even talking about financial boundaries, you know, to say if you have a vision and you've got goals and you've got financial boundaries, and then you work together as a team, you are able then to achieve so much. And I mean, one of the things I said in the last episode is that we're going to do a full-on home loans journey from start until the end. And we've already received some nuggets from, you know, the Mazwi household to say you can squash your bond much quicker. You pay twice because your interest on your bond, it's calculated, you know, the balance, the daily balance. You are charged interest on the daily balance. It's capitalized at the end of the month. So if you pay your bond twice and if you pay more, then you are able to reduce it and to squash it as quickly as you possibly can. Maybe let's then ask a question. Nico, do you guys have regular check-ins or meetings to review your finances or your financial priorities? And maybe also, how do you resolve if you ever have a financial disagreement? Do you even disagree financially?
Look, we will normally pick, as I say, Makwena, she's the one who will be the chairman and the CEO, of the financial planning, budgeting, and the spending, and all that. And she's the one who will be able to say, no, look, this is the setup. I've moved this money to that, and I've moved this investment to that, and this is what we got from the other investment that we had, and all that. She will always be the one who brings that, and then we talk about that. And now will only say, go ahead and do whatever is right. And I've seen the good results that come from that. Look, what she's saying is that we don't have credit for clothes, you don't have credit for the car, you don't have a bond for the house, and we're living on chicken licken, or KFC, or none seafood, but chicken also has.
Yeah. No, I like that, I really, really like that. And I know for a fact that you also support Makwena in her being the one who drives, the finances of the home. Not so long ago, we went for that walk in some place where we were just doing hiking. And after the hiking, we went for breakfast, and you were sure to say, hey, I need to report to Makwena, or how much did I spend here, so that she knows how much money has gone out, so that she can keep an account of that. That's accountability, to each other. As a couple, and I truly like that, because I think some of us were just swiping there, I didn't hear anyone in the group that was there saying, I need to account to my spouse, etc., etc. And maybe Makwena, where do you get the financial wisdom to prudently invest the money? Because there must be some sort of source that was helping you along that way.
I think I touched on it earlier on that, my mother stopped working, I think, around about 1970, and she became an entrepreneur. Working for yourself, then it teaches you how to take care of rents and cents. But what my father would do, he worked for Allied. He would come home, this is what I earn. So when we would want, as we 7 girls at home, when we would want, let me talk about, now we 5, 2 is married. When you would want to have this and that and the other, my mother would say, think, 5 of you, I have bond, I have this, I have that to pay rent and lights, da. So you can't come to me now and say this is what you want and then you think you will get it. Consider as well, other siblings. So I think that for me, it taught me good principles, that you also do not punish yourself. You need to enjoy yourself. Go out. My mother would say, you have worked hard. When it's month end, go out, buy yourself whatever, whether it's clothing, whether it's food, just entertain yourself because you've worked hard. So I have learned that. But with having friends that are also diligent in how we work, I mean, with you, we would go and find out from other people that how do you save? Which are the best investments, and how do you make sure that you don't put all your money in one bucket? And then I'll come home and then we'll share, talk about this, let me try this, let me try that. And immediately when it brings some results, whether positive, not in big numbers, but little change, I will share with Nico that, I realized this investment, it has good results, or that. That's the idea of not putting your eggs in one basket. For me, it really works because I've seen it in our early years of marriage. I've seen it working for us.
Yeah. That's awesome. Diversification is very, very important, and just tapping into the other financial instruments that are available. I mean, I remember when we went out as ladies and we met this lady who was telling us about how to invest, successfully in shares, etc. And I mean, even though I think there were 8 of us that were there, I know for a fact that you were quick, to get off and to invest, and you chose the right. I mean, this lady gave us all the strategies, and I was one of those people. I don't want to invest in alcohol, things. And you invested in the shares, and then the shares, for some strange reason, just quadrupled. And I was sitting there, I'm thinking, my goodness, we all went to the same meeting, we all invested, but because I was cautious about certain, maybe Kitlaring companies, I lost out in a way, because I didn't, I was not as quick as what you were, and yet I've been working in the financial industry. And that brings me to the next point to say, just because you work in a financial industry or in the bank does not mean you are sharp, and that you will always, take opportunities and use them to the best of your ability. Now, maybe there's a young couple that's watching us, or a marriage, or a couple that just got married, they're starting their journey, or they've been married for a while and they can see, all right, we're not working as a team. Everybody is doing their own thing here. I don't know what the left is doing. I don't know what the right is doing. Everybody nje kuyaphilwa nje, keep the secret and so on. What advice would you give to them, Nico? I mean, as a young couple, or whatever stage of their marriage they are at, for them to be able to learn from you and to do better in how they work together.
Yeah, I constantly heard, I buy malahle, I pay rent, I buy nyama, and I buy grocery in this house. That's what my father used to preach every day, every week, and all that. And so, with that ringing at the back of my mind, I think young couples, they should move away from saying, I'm responsible for medical aid, I'm responsible for the bond, I'm responsible for the cars, the kids' school fees. They must together say, this mammo or this money that is coming into this house, it will not rule us, but we will handle it this way. Let's channel this money there, or our money, the household money. Let's channel it to this activity to that project and to this, financial need I think the motto has been, it's your house, keep your house clean, keep your house tidy, and so all of us need to come into that, with that mindset. It's our money for our household, for our well-being and our kids' well-being.
I think the other thing, Wendy, is with young couples, they must try and be unique in the sense that it will help them to fend off competition. Because when you find yourself you doing things because you saw somebody has or they've done it, and then you pressurize your partner, you pressurize your financial situation, because we can earn exactly the same amount, Wendy, but if our goals are different, what we will achieve will be different. So people will learn early that we focus on this. People don't know that when we got married, we slept on was a single bed or three-quarter single?
Single, maybe three-quarter. I single maybe two woman.
No, it was like that. You would basically fall. If you can bring that bed, you would basically fall. But we did everything that we did on our own pace. We had nobody that we would go to and peep through and come back and fight over it, or compete one another, to whatever that they were doing. That helped us because it was just us. And if young people, when they get married, they will try and work together and see their vision, even before a child comes in. See their vision that this is us, this is what are the things that we want to do. Yes, sometimes the vision and your aspiration might divert. I found Nico, I met him, he was busy with his studies, but he had to pause his studies. I paused also my studies. He went back first to go and complete what he was doing, and when he was done, he was helping me to finish off. So you will always juggle around your aspiration together with your finance. Remember, when you study for yourself, you pay from your pocket. So people have to work together to say, is this what we want for us? When he achieved with his qualification, I looked at myself as an achiever as well, you know. And when he came back to assist me and to make sure that whatever studies I was doing, payment was not an issue, because it gets expensive, you know, when it gets expensive as you study from your pocket. So there are things, it was not, but you've been doing this for a long time. I also need an opportunity and all that. But working together. So with young couples, I would say really, you need to put your family together, your love together. This is a person that you chose, you know, put that person first, and the rest, I think it will come through.
I like what Makwena is saying, and to you who is watching, what I'm getting out of this is that it's teamwork. And then you have to cut the selfishness, because I think most of the time being selfish, pushing your own agenda, wanting to achieve, and literally even competing, because some people are married, they're staying together, but there's competition between the two of them. So if you could just learn that when you work together as a team, you know, there's so much more that you can achieve, you know. And you know, I've been picking up from our conversation, you know, that your parents played a huge part in how, you know, you shaped your financial journey. And I was talking to someone in the previous episode where we spoke about how children, by the time they get to age 7, their financial outlook and how they will manage money is already shaped, because they are looking at their parents, they are listening to what their parents are saying, and also how their parents are managing money. So for those couples who have children, you know, who are raising children, how you manage your finances is also a lesson to your children. You know, you might not be consciously teaching them, but subconsciously they are learning some of the things, the behaviors that you are doing that are either right or wrong, that will shape where they go. Now, have you as a couple sat down with your kids to share some of these nuggets, you know, that you've just shared with us, to help them shape their lives? Because, you know, it's another thing for you to do it, but it's another thing to share with your children. And I mean, as I know, you've got 2 who are married, and then there's a little one that's still not yet married.
Yeah, I think for me as a mother, it has been easy, you know, to talk to Tando and Buli about finance. And when they were deliberate about us talking about finance, money, how do you choose which investment, how do you choose the you know, the period, whether it's 50
period, investment,
yeah. 5 years, or whether it's shorter, a year or whatever. How do you choose, and how do you choose your the banks,
Yeah.
you know. Then we'll talk about this bank charges this, that, and that. But if you want to save, you must ask yourself, what are you saving for? You know, because you don't just save when to have money. You need to save. It's either to alleviate yourself from all these other things that are petty things that will be spending your money recklessly. So I had that discussion with them together and separately. You know, where specifics now, Bulu wanted specifics or Tando wanted specifics, that this is the amount that I want to save for the kids. When did you start saving for us? Because for my girls, I used unit trust, you know, which is money that you put there and you forget about it, you know. Or for them, I would say, because you have little ones, you know, you can choose better investment than the one that I chose. But for Sabi, I discussed with him as well and went with him to the bank to say, choose. I mean, the lady will tell us this. It's important for you to have, as a student, have an investment. But I sent him to go to one of the banks to say, go and get or ask about their portfolio, whatever that they have. So it has been important. And for me, it's liberating to be able to talk to them even before one dies, so that they will not be confused by whatever pennies that they would get and abuse whatever we would leave for them. But they would know that they have to be diligent with what they get.
Okay. Thanks for that. There's a lot there. And I think for parents that are watching, as soon as the child is born, actually, as soon as you give the child a name and you have a birth certificate, you should be starting to invest on their behalf then. And you set a recurring stock order and you forget about it. When the child turns 18, you've already given them such a good start, you know, in life. Unlike, you know, when the child is supposed to go to Investikwena or and so on. So, I mean, for those that are hearing this and that are watching, I mean, this is the right time for you to do the right things. I always say to people, you know, before you hear a truth, everything else that you've done, you can't condemn yourself. But after you've heard a truth, like the money nuggets that have come out of this episode, and then after you heard them, you do nothing, then the onus is on you, you know. And then maybe, Nico, just to talk, one of the major things that has an impact on couples, especially if one spouse passes away, is when they don't have a will, you know, and then the partner passes away interstate, and then the partner that's left has got so many challenges around how to handle that. How did you guys handle, you know, that part? Do you have a will? Have you drafted individual wills or joint? And I mean, how do you think, you know, if you have a will, that will help the surviving spouse or your children?
Yeah, we had a will, or we do have a will.
Yeah.
And as time, you know, and information comes in, and then we modified our will. Because I realized that having a will, just a will, it doesn't help your spouse when you're dead, with regard to your estate, your money, your houses, your assets, and all that stuff. And then we heard about this company that is drafting wills. Now, that will now help your beneficiaries, your kids. And so it covers your estate, it covers your estate, and also covers the cost of having to transfer either the house, that means the attorneys or whatever, who will have to transfer my share to her share. And then you are sorted out. You need money to pay for water and lights, they are able to help you with it. You need money to pay for schools, Sabana, they will help you with that, because your money, by the way, when you die, it gets frozen in the bank. But this company, I've forgotten the name, that drafted and did our will, which I shared with the colleagues I'm with, is that have it, yes, it's a will good, but after you've did, let that will work for you.
Yeah.
You know, and we do have that one currently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the power in what you've said, Nico, here is that a lot of people don't realize that even if you have a will, for them to work on the estate and to conclude, it can take anything up to 4 years, 5 years. If you have little ones, there's no money available probably for them to go to school if you haven't thought it through, even the way that you are, explaining it. And also those attorneys that are winding down the estate, they've got costs. And sometimes you find that, after everything is said and done, you leave with nothing because those costs have actually, eaten up into everything that was meant for you. So I think I want to just say to those that are watching, when you do your will, you make sure that you've covered all the bases that Nico and Makwena were sharing, to make sure that in this period, whether it's 3, 4, 5 years, while they're winding down the estate, that you can still take your kids to school, you can still have food to eat, and you can still be able to do the things that are required to be done. So thank you so much, for that. And we've been having so much fun, but I think we've come to that part, where we're just winding down our conversation. And maybe I just, at the end of every podcast that I do, I always ask my guests to scatter seeds of wisdom, to scatter that one thing that when people think about you, they will remember after they've watched, and they will want to go and implement. So I'd like you to, maybe I'll start with you, to scatter your seed of wisdom and then yours, or vice versa, whichever works.
I think all unions must be unique, or they should be unique. There shouldn't be a cut and paste or a copy of another union. Marriages or unions out there, brand yourself to what you want to be. Brand yourself to be the better union that you have never seen, have never heard of, but you are creating and crafting for yourself.
Wow. Amen. He said what I was going to say.
Yeah. I think the important thing is that I still continue to learn is that you never come to a stage where it is enough. In anything. It is not enough for me to have 30 years with Nico. I still want to be loved, to be spoiled, to do all those things. It's never enough to say financially we are okay and to have fun and all those things. But if I find him, if I put him first in my life, I get enough, because that's what I want to do. I put him first in my life, and I know that vice versa. There is nothing that I'm not going to get from him, because I acknowledge him when I put him first in my life. So with young people who get married, if your partner is the first, you put him enough, he is your life, I'm saying your life in the sense that you are planting, and whatever tree that you are planting, the seed that you are planting, you will forever eat from that tree. So I think if you do that, you will go together.
Wow, there you have it. These are financial nuggets that each and every one of us can learn from and implement. Thank you, Nico. Thank you, Makwena, for sharing, and I'm hoping that those who are watching this podcast will really learn and implement so that they can be financially secure, so that they can work together as a team and they can retire comfortably. Look at us. We are stress-free. You can see as they are talking, as much as they are retired, there's no stress lines there, nothing, because they worked together as a team and they planned together as a team. And before I sign off, I'd like to remind you again, please like our page and click on the subscribe button. Until next time, thank you.